Yeah, so how's everyone doing out there? Happy Hanukkah if you're celebrating it currently, and happy or Merry Christmas, should I say, in about a week and a half, and Happy New Year too. But let's talk about these PFF grades. Pro Football Focus has updated their big board today, and the most recent update has Ian Strong as pick 42 in the second round of the NFL draft. Ethan Kaliakmanis at pick 229. Last year there were 257 picks in total, so it has him going on day 3 in the final round. Eric O'Neill picked 262, so he's probably at about a 50-50 chance to get drafted. But I want to talk about Ian Strong and Ethan Kaliakmanis because they shined wearing scarlet red. And Adam, I'm curious about your opinions. So let's start off with Ian Strong, pick 42. He is a junior. He has another year of eligibility. He has 3 options here. Well, realistically, everybody has unlimited options, but 3 options that are most taken when you're primed to be pick 42. You can either declare for the draft, be possibly a first-round pick no later than 3rd or 4th, but hovering around the mid-second round. You can stay at Rutgers and have another year with, at this point, an unknown QB1. It could be AJ Suris. It could be transfer quarterback. It could be one of the backups on the roster if AJ were to get injured, God forbid. Or he could do the third option, which is to enter the transfer portal. So if you're Ian Strong, Rutgers bias aside, I mean, you can still vouch for Rutgers 100%, but what would you do?
Well, I think Ian Strong, first order of business, he has to get an accurate draft projection. Now, if he was going to go in the first round, there's no reason for him to stay at Rutgers and stay at the college level. I don't think he is going to be drafted in the first round. I think it's more likely that he's going to be a late second round or a third round. Given that, I think he should come back, okay, because he has a substantial chance to increase his draft stock. And if he comes back, I think that he should stay at Rutgers because he's going to know that he's one or two. Him and KJ Duff are going to be the stars in that wide receiving core. If he transfers to another school, if he goes to SEC or another Big Ten school, he's going to be going to another school. He's going to have to adjust to their offensive scheme. And there's no guarantee that he will play the same degree to which he does at Rutgers. So I think he should stay at Rutgers. And given what I project will be probably late second or third round, Ian Strong should stay at Rutgers and he should play one more year. And if he does that, I think he has a chance of increasing his stock. And that's what I would do.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the NFL draft from 2025, and those second or third round wide receivers, a lot of them made an instant impact, even if they didn't get first round wide receiver money. You still got Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State going to the Texans in the second round. You got Luther Burden, who just had his best career game yesterday, out of Missouri, going pick 39 to the Bears. You scroll down a little bit. Trey Harris went to the Chargers, pick 55. Jack Beck, who, he has that really sad story with his brother, and may his brother rest in peace. But Jack Beck out of TCU, pick 58 to the Raiders. Very bittersweet moment for him in the second round. And so that's all the second round picks, and they all made instant impacts on their team. Third round, if Ian Strong were to slip to the third round, Kyle Williams. He's drafted to the Patriots, not getting a ton of playing time, but in a great situation. Isaac Tesla, who has had a really good year for the Lions in the third round with pick 70. Pat Bryant hasn't had too much of an impact out of Illinois for the Broncos. Jalen Noel has had an impact for the Texans. Savion Williams for the Packers. So, Ty Felton for the Vikings. These are all guys that have found a role. And I think if Ian Strong were to be in the second or third round, of course he would have a role too. He's too physical, too gifted. And he's a target machine. When he plays, he gets targets, he converts the targets. It's very similar to KJ Duff in that aspect. So I think that if I were Ian Strong and I had a future that I've been working my whole life that is coming creepily close to me, I would take the shot and I would declare for the draft. But as long as he doesn't transfer, I'll be happy. If you can't be mad at Rutgers representing in the NFL draft, and you can't be mad at a player coming back for another year, please don't leave us, Ian.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to leave Rutgers because he's got 1 year left, and if he wanted to stay and increase his draft stock, transferring to another program, learning a new offensive scheme, and taking a chance that he'll be among the top 2 receivers on the team is just too risky. But I think one thing that concerns me is that unlike Luther Burden and the other wideouts you talked about, Ian didn't have a great year this year, not through any fault of his own. He was injured, fairly substantially.
He had his share of weeks, though.
Yeah, but he did have it. He did, but I think that when I look at his performance, I still don't see him becoming a wide receiver in the NFL yet. I think he has more development to go, and 1 more year at Rutgers, I think, will benefit him. Now, what's really going to happen? I think he's going to go into the NFL draft. And I think that's what he wants to do. And I think that, like you said, he's been working for it his whole life. So I look for him to be probably late second or third round, probably. And, I hope that he's successful. But I think for his draft stock in the long term, it would be better if he took 1 more year to really show himself out at Rutgers.
Yeah, like I said, as long as he doesn't transfer, I'll be happy. And last year, he did have 52 catches, 762 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And that was, I believe he missed 2 games, possibly 2.5 games, because I think he got hurt. It was against Oregon, I believe.
Yeah.
And he only had – look, the only thing that concerns me about his draft status – or not status, his draft ranking – is against the 2 toughest defenses we faced this year, he had a combined 2 catches for 15 yards.
I was just about to say that when it comes to KJ and Ian, when we played very good defenses, they didn't get the kind of separation, certainly not the kind of receptions. If they can't do that against those defenses, what does that tell you about their draft stock and how they're going to perform? I just think that, look, it's very tempting for someone who's close to getting drafted to the NFL to say, I want to go now. But sometimes you got to play the long game. And I think for him, he needs 1 more year. But I do not think he will take another year, and I suspect he'll go into the draft.
So I got a pop quiz for you. I know that you are a teacher, and I don't know what's your stance on pop quizzes. Are you for them or against them?
I never give pop quizzes, but I'm happy to take one myself.
All right. Good professor. When was the last time Rutgers had a first-round draft pick in football?
Oh, gosh.
And who was it?
I don't know. I want to say Kyle Monangai, but I know he was not first-round pick. I'm trying to – what about the other running back, the Chiefs running back?
Pacheco?
Yeah.
Pacheco, like Monangai, was drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know. It was 15 years ago, and it was 2 of them, Anthony Davis, Devin McCourty.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we've had some day 2 representation since then. We had Mohamed Sanu, 2012, Logan Ryan, 2012, Daron Harmon, 2012, or 2013 rather. We had Tyler Croft, 2015, Leonte Carew, 2016, Kamoko Toure, 2018, and Max Melton, 2024. But we have not had a day 1 pick since 2010. And look, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but if you're projected 42, there is a chance that you can get drafted in the first round.
Yeah, and I think also, what's really incredible about Rutgers is that I'm sorry, not Rutgers, but Kyle Monangai, is that we're talking a 7th round, and he's now starting, or at least having a substantial role and really doing very well for the Bears. So the round you're drafted in is not always a predictor of what will happen, but I do think that I don't see Ian Strong making the kind of impact in the NFL that he would if he took 1 more year. But he's going to go, I think, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and who knows how he does for the combine or whatever private workouts he has. He has a chance to shoot into the first round for sure. Now, the second guy I wanted to talk about, Ethan Kaliakmanis. Now, last week, we were saying that we thought Ethan would be a UDFA and probably get a workout, be on a practice squad, possibly make a roster, and that his peak would be maybe QB2. And if a quarterback gets injured, he would play. Well, PFF has him pick 229, which means they have him projected to be drafted. So this is good news because that means that outside of Rutgers, he's being taken seriously. And that's not always the case with Rutgers quarterbacks.
Yeah. So Ethan Kaliakmanis, he is what I would call a very intriguing prospect. First of all, Ethan has the intangibles. All right, he's a great team player. He plays with a lot of grit and a lot of intelligence. He's tough, and he's a great leader for the team. So he has the intangibles. Now, when it comes to the physical attributes, I thought that his arm strength improved substantially this year, as did his accuracy, as evidenced in his completion percentage. And I also thought he did a good job of going through his reads and was much better, delivering the ball under pressure. So I think the physical attributes have certainly improved. Now, how is that going to translate to the NFL? I'm not sure. I don't necessarily see him as a top flight draft pick, but I do think that with his combination of intangibles, his work ethic, his grit, his leadership, plus what I saw from him, especially in the Penn State game, was accuracy, great timing on his passes. He was better under pressure, and I think consistently all year you saw that in a higher completion percentage. So currently, I think 229 is probably accurate. I see him right now as a backup in the NFL, but a capable backup. And you never know. Things could change where he eventually gets some playing time in the NFL. But I think where he's situated now is probably accurate.
Look, I don't want to compare him to one guy and throw one guy under the spotlight, but it came to mind 2 weeks ago when the Vikings, Carson Wentz got hurt, J.J. McCarthy, number 9, wasn't back yet, and they had Max Brosmer out there out of Minnesota, and he started for Minnesota, I believe, 1 year, and he had pretty poor stats, and then he went and played like one of the worst performances I've seen. And if Max Brosmer can play in the NFL, Ethan Kaliakmanis can find his way to the NFL. This year, he improved by 8.3% completion percentage. He had 478 more yards passing. I had to do some improvisation math there. 1.7 more yards per attempt, 2 more touchdowns, same amount of interceptions. And he had a rating of 147.7, which is 25 points higher than he's ever had. So this was far and away a career year. Perfect trajectory for him headed to the NFL. If you're going to have a career year in college, you want it to be your last year. Look at Cam Ward. He went from a guy no one had on his radar to getting drafted first overall after one great year with Miami. And Ethan is not going to be a day 1 guy. He's probably not going to be a day 2 guy. I believe there's he's going to hover around the day 3. And I do think that a team will draft him in the 7th round because that's the 7th round is where you want to draft based on potential instead of risk. If someone is high risk in the 7th round, who cares? It's a 7th round pick. It's the same value as a UDFA. But if you know that a guy has potential in the 7th round, you draft him. That's why it's not the 7th round, but that's why with Shedeur Sanders last year, he fell in the draft because everyone was worried about his attitude. How's it going, Pit Snipe Husker? It's been a minute. I'm sorry to hear about your quarterback hitting the portal. We are going to get into that in a minute. But what I was saying is Shedeur Sanders, people were worried about his attitude or his commitment. So he slid, understandably so. But eventually, in round 5, people said, look, it's round 5. He's got a ton of potential. Is he a risk? Absolutely. But could he pay off? Of course he could. So he's going to get drafted. Now, Ethan doesn't have the attitude problem, but what he does have is the decision-making questionability, the consistency, but he has the talent. So eventually, I think it gets to a point where the reward of being a power thrower, having one of the best arms, it outweighs the risk.
Yeah, well, when I look at Ethan, I think, all right, let's start first with his strengths. Like we said, he has the intangibles. He's a great team player, plays with grit. He's a great leader. Physical attributes. He does have a much stronger arm, in my opinion, than I've seen in the past. Very accurate, makes good decisions. Now, what are the weaknesses? The weaknesses are number one, how is he going to adjust to the speed of the NFL? Can he throw receivers open? Can he fit the ball in tight windows and make anticipatory throws? How is he going to handle the pressure in the NFL, particularly given that he's not a very mobile quarterback?
Yeah.
So I think the NFL is going to look at the intangibles, but I also think they're going to look at the how he's going to project. And I think that those weaknesses are going to probably lead to, maybe a sixth, seventh round pick. But in terms of what he can do in the NFL, I think that he's a developmental pick, and I think that he'll serve as a backup, second or third string for a few years. And if he keeps making progress, who knows what can happen in the future.
Yeah, and I think the Indianapolis Colts proved that you don't need mobility at quarterback, and someone will still give you a chance. After playing Phillip Rivers yesterday, what the hell was that? I am all for it because it's a crazy story, but 44-year-old man hasn't played in the NFL in 5 years, wasn't great 5 years ago, comes in and has himself a not terrible game. He did not look good throwing the ball at all, in my opinion, but hey, he didn't make mistakes. So, Ethan, if you want to make it to the league, just tone down the mistakes. That's all we ask of you. Now, that is it for the PFF Big Board